Are you a movie buff? Do you love dissecting and analyzing your favorite films? Look no further than the Projection Booth podcast. Join host Mike White and a bevy of guest experts as they explore the history, themes, and legacy of cult classics, obscure gems, and mainstream hits. Join us every week for a unique and engaging look at your favorite movies. So sit back, grab some popcorn, and tune in to the Projection Booth podcast, available on all major podcast platforms.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bollywood Cinema Club, a show where we take a look at Indian cinema every other week. I am your host, Chris Stachiw of The Culture Cast, where this show was spun off from. On this episode of the show, I am joined by my good friend. She is here all the way from where she sets up shop on the internet. Your friend and mine, Mondo Heather's own, Heather Drain.
Good evening, everybody. I think tonight is going to be a thriller.
Oh, I think tonight is going to resemble something that we've seen before, but like a not great version of it.
Yeah, way too long.
Yeah, God, yeah, yeah. On this episode, we're going to be talking about a movie that is, up until recently, was rather hard to find with English subtitles, but yet on YouTube about a year and a half ago, somebody finally posted a 4K rip of this film with subtitles. You can find it in the link for the episode if you want to listen along or join in the discussion in your head, because we're going to be talking about 1994's Mahakaal, otherwise known as Mahakaal the Monster. So the film is directed by Shyam Ramsay and Tulsi Ramsay, and it stars Karan Shah and Archana Paran Singh as Prakash and Anita, two teenagers, ? Sure.
Let's put some big old quotation marks around there.
Some teenagers who fall asleep at night, and a man with a glove with finger knives on it torments them. Yes, this is actually a remake or reimagining, or as Wikipedia puts it, plagiarized. Yeah, loose plagiarism.
So rude. Rude.
Of A Nightmare on Elm Street, the 1984 Wes Craven film. But I think we've got plenty to say about the inspirations for this film, because it's not just A Nightmare on Elm Street #1 at all. Specifically, there are some things that are from the second and third movie. So, but we're talking about a movie that is really, and again, I don't think I want to put it this way, but to get someone's attention, it is Indian A Nightmare on Elm Street.
And that does get people's attention. In fact, this is I'm trying to think if this is the first film I've just guessed that actually has a recent US, like legit Blu-ray release, or it's either Blu-ray or DVD, but Massacre Video have released it. And they do good work, but if you're going to support them, and you should, I recommend buying another movie from them. Spoiler. They have Jack-o'-lantern on that label, and Jack-o'-lantern is a joy, complete joy.
Well, it's sold out on Massacre Video, which is why I didn't mention them, because I'm totally assuming somebody just ripped it and threw it on YouTube, which is
if it's sold out, mate, you got to make do.
Oh, what a shame! I gotta watch it on YouTube.
Sold out. People should have bought Jack-o'-lantern. That's bullshit.
I don't think anyone should be buying this movie.
I'm throwing shade on all of you that spent your hard-earned coffers on Mahakaal when you could have been buying a better Indian movie or Hack-a-Lantern.
So Heather, tell me what you thought about Mahakaal, aka a Indian remake of. I don't want to call it plagiarize. It's a remake. Like
it's a I would say reimagining it because it takes liberties. I mean, it's not like a
plagiarism. Jesus Christ, like.
Right. I mean, granted, if Harlan Ellison, and I love Harlan, R.I.P., if he was still alive and they did this to one of his stories, that they would get sued. They would, and he would probably win. So maybe it's great. It's great area. What did I think? I'll start with the positives first because I don't like being a negative Nelly. There is, like, when you have the horror sequences, the lighting, like there's some really good lighting. Some of the camera work's really good, like their use of color. The mutated version of Charles Bernstein's, and I hope I'm saying his name right, the original, the man who composed the original Nightmare on Elm Street score, they do like a mutated version of it that has stings that are very similar to it, but that's kind of cool because that's just a great piece of music. So I liked that. Did I mention some of the camera works?
Oh my God.
This film, and I'm okay with some tonal whiplash. And you and I we've dealt, like when we saw, I believe Muthu.
Yeah, it was all over the place.
Had a little bit, but Muthu was like jubilant and it was so good. Like you're down the ride. But that's the thing, for a film to do that, you better be, well, probably not a horror movie. Like horror is so hard. It is one of the harder genres to do.
Right.
To do right in any country. So when you have tonal whiplash in horror, it's kind of like doing that in comedy too, where it's like everything's huck yucking, and then by the way, the baby's dead, and it's like what? Like right. What the fuck? You can't. So this film has so much tonal whiplash. It gets to the point where it's kind of exhausting, and you're just kind of done with it. There's some characters that wear out their welcome.
That's a nice way of putting it.
The very I'm trying to think of the best word for this. The treatment of sexual assault is a lot. It's a lot, and that's coming from somebody who's watched a lot of 80s material. That it was a lot in that department. Right. Like I'm definitely not gonna, because I know it'd be easy for a Western to be like, oh well, it's India. Well, in India it does have a problem, certainly, with how women are treated, but so does this country, so nobody needs to judge. So I
was about to say, like, yeah, let's point fingers at ourselves.
Yeah, but meanwhile, while teenage girls are getting their periods tracked if they want to be on a sports team. So no judging. It's a judgment-free zone here. We're not assholes. We are libertines. We are celebrators of great art. I prefer to be referred to as a decadent Philistine. I like that. Best like you should have your own brand of crack or something. And a ruffled shirt.
Yeah.
I do. But Chris, what did you think about Mahakaal?
I wanted to like it. I think you did as well, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. I wanted to love it.
Right. Like, and I think that may have, my enthusiasm may have finally kind of gotten the best of me, I think, in a lot of ways. Like, I went into this with no expectations. I had actually, there's kind of an interesting history with me in this movie. This is a movie that Cullen Gallagher, who I know, he's on the first episode of this show, and he's one of the biggest supporters of Indian cinema that I know, because again, like he's been the one that was in my ear early on, like, you should do this all the time. So like right it was advantageous, and also kind of like, prescient that he was saying that. But one of the movies that him and I had talked about many moons ago was Mahakaal. But up until it was re-released recently, you could not find a English subbed version. It just didn't exist. You would have to pay someone to do the translation for you. And like that, it's not worth it. Like, it's not that it's not worth it, but I mean, it's not worth it. Like, it is. I don't know how to put it, but I'm not trying to be mean, but I can't abide translating a movie that I don't know the quality of.
Right. Well, and this one, like, I hate to think that there's going to be like a Westerner that this is their entry into Indian cinema. Like, that actually kind of bothers me, because this journey that you have taken me on throughout the series. I probably have said this every episode because every single time, and some movies we've talked about are better than others, of course, but every single time I am like so grateful, and it makes me want to just research more and watch more because, you know, it's rewarding. Indian cinema is a rewarding thing as a whole, but like anything, some rewards are better than others. Sometimes you get the golden ticket, and sometimes you get pencil shavings with a wad of chewing tobacco on it.
That looks like chocolate.
That's it ain't chocolate.
It don't taste like chocolate, but it's crunchy.
Oh, man. But
I guess my question to you is, but before we delve too far into the movie that's plot is so close to Nightmare on Elm Street, we're more or less probably going to be just comparing it, unfortunately. Can this film be seen as anything other than a novel? That's what I'm curious. And that was the question I was trying to see if the film could give me an answer to, or at least inform an answer that I could come to while I was watching it. Because again, like yourself, I am a engaged viewer of film, and you're expecting analysis to some extent. And that's one of the questions I went into this movie with is there a way to watch this movie and enjoy it without it inherently just being a novelty? Because, it's Indian Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, it ends up, in my mind, being that because it's not really trying to do more than that.
Right. Yeah. I think, unfortunately, because of the way this movie is made, and especially because some of the you'll have like something really serious, and like you'll have like a really cool nightmare scene. And then there's like, you know, a character who works at the college canteen who's and I can't remember his name. I want to call him Johnny River, but I know it's not Johnny River's this. Thank you. Johnny River was like a American singer from the 50s.
We've seen him before.
Thank you. Was he in Muthu?
He was in Ishq. He was in Ishq. He was
Oh my God, he was in it. I kept trying. He was the guy that owned the shop. One of the shop. Who was he in Ishq? I'm trying to remember.
He was like the brother-in-law of one of them.
Shit. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And he was awesome in Ishq.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you and I both liking him in Ishq. This is very much like, not like super early in his career, but he starts acting in 82 and this is in 94. So,
yeah.
He's known at the time. There's a reason they're casting him because Johnny Lever is considered to be one of the first Indian stand-up comedians. So,
oh, wow. Now, I did see something, and I can't fact check it, that this film was actually shot in the 80s. But
would that surprise you?
No, because it looks 80s. It looks even like the films, and that's not a bad thing. The film stock, I actually like how this film looks. That's one of the few positives I have to say about it. But but we see him come out and you hear like a little like thriller sting, and he comes out kind of doing this permutation. Again, everything's kind of permutated of Michael Jackson, but he's pretty funny. But then it's like kind of a gay panic thing, which they really kind of lean into in one of the musical numbers where he's trying to blow up a beach ball and he looks sexually frustrated. And I don't even know. Like, there's so many things in this movie, Chris, where I was just sitting there going, what? And that's me. Like, this is somebody who has made an entire lifetime of trying to find and be a curator of esoteric cinema. You know, I kind of live for things surprising me, but sometimes this surprised me in ways that didn't work, I think, is the problem. And that's the thing, is this film was a better movie, then I would say it could escape the whole like comparison. I mean, I think there still would always be people that would be like, oh, it's the Indian Nightmare on Elm Street. But I think it would be evaluated a lot better if it was a better movie.
Right.
Because you can do a remake, you know, even if it's kind of a ripoff. Well, I mean, look at in 1931, they made a Spanish language version of Dracula, like at nighttime when Todd Browning and his crew weren't using that set. So it's the same sets. I mean, that's not a ripoff because it's studio, but it's different actors, different directors, and pretty much historically it's considered a superior movie.
Right.
Except that it's like, you know, it doesn't have Lugosi. Like, Lugosi's kind of like the one factor you can't, I mean, come on, he's Bela Lugosi. But it's very well regarded because everything else is so well. Like, it's such a well-made movie.
Right.
This is not Mahakaal. Mahakaal is like the tonal whiplash where it's like, hey, it's goofy. You know, it's funny. Just cheer up. Let's go to the park. Here's this guy that wants to rape our heroine. Oh, just cheer up. Like, she's literally almost viciously, violently, sexually assaulted in public.
In like a cafe.
Yeah, and her friends are like, oh, you just need to get over it and cheer up. Here, we'll go to the lake. I mean, what the fuck?
Just get over it and cheer up.
What the? I mean, I just, it's stuff like that make this film, like, you can't, unfortunately, the film itself will not let you evaluate it, I think, as its own thing. Does that make sense? Like, because the stuff that's not attached to Nightmare on Elm Street is so, I mean, the best stuff in this film is the stuff attached to Nightmare on Elm Street. I think that's the other issue.
Well, I'm total agreement with you. For me, it's, that's kind of what I was driving at. It's this idea that, like, the movie sets itself, it's like anything else, right? It sets itself up with the biggest boulder possible to push up the hill. And then by it being a Nightmare on Elm Street thing, it's a big boulder, but then you're remaking it essentially straight up. So it's essentially, instead of an incline, it's like a vertical cliff face. Like, what the fuck are you going to do? Like, you've made it so hard for yourself to land this movie just based on what this is, that, like, it would take someone clearly much more adept at writing a story than what we get here to really do a good job with this story. Look, there is another Bollywood film that came out 5 years before this one, Kuni Murda, which is another Indian cinema version of A Nightmare on Elm Street. I haven't seen that one. I would be curious, but this is the more well-known one. I mean, this is the one. I mean, again, like you mentioned, it got a re-release. And, I think that's, for me, that is the most disappointing part, is that we get a movie that the Nightmare on Elm Street part's not great, but it ends up being better than the other stuff, which is not an affront, but it's barely entertaining, if it is at all. Like, none of the actors, I would say, have a fair amount of, like, they're not given much to do. So they're, even if they are charismatic, I don't know.
Yeah. And that's kind of that's the sad thing, is like, because at first, it's one of those things where, okay, maybe the acting isn't as good, but then, like, the more you get into it, it's like, well, actually the actors are fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the material. I mean, you have to be like, you'd have to be like an Amir Khan, or if we're going to use like a European example, like a Christopher Lee, like, you have to be like somebody who is just like a gold tiered charisma bomb to rise above shit material. Most can't do it. Even really talented people can't do it. I mean, look at Phantom Menace. Like, no offense to anybody, don't come for me, okay? If you love it, that's cool. But in my personal opinion, there are actors in that movie that are really great actors in other movies, but seem kind of stiff and wooden in it, you know? And
I don't think anybody's going to ever give George Lucas an award for writing dialogue.
They shouldn't, unless it's a Razzie.
Wow.
Wait. Oh, he can go cry on his bed made of money. He's fine.
His billions of dollars.
I love when people get all hurt. Like, oh, how did you say that about? Oh, the man who could buy and own your, because he has more money than. Yeah, he's fine.
It's true. He did sell it to Disney, and we should feel bad for him.
Go worry about recycling your number 2 plastics and donating to a homeless shelter. Okay, worry about real shit, guys.
Heather's coming for everybody.
T-Bomb. This movie made me cranky. I'm sorry. It just made me so salty because it was so long and the music wasn't that good. And that's the other problem is, I mean, I don't think the music sucked. I will say that. I think this is probably one of the weakest musical entries that you and I have talked about.
Well, and that, there are 3 songs. Mm-hmm. And they're all, why in God's name they didn't have a song that the monster sings is beyond me. Look, I mean, let's we haven't even really talked about this yet, which should serve as a sign to those of you listening along. The monster Shakaal, as he is so aptly named, played by Mahavir Bular, is the biggest missed opportunity, because Freddy Krueger talks. And he's
a big personality.
Right. And he talks in 1, 2, 3. And then after 3, he doesn't shut the fuck up. And like, that's part of the character. And I say all this because, yes, this movie may have been shot in the 80s, but this movie came out in 1994. And I know for a fact, as do you, because we're both fans of the franchise, there are things from the other, at least Nightmare 2 and 3, that show up in this movie, which means they had to have seen and made this movie at least after 1987, because there is a sequence in this movie that is directly from Dream Warriors. It's either Dream Warriors or Dream Master. The thing where with the bed with the waterbed. Like, that's from A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. Actually, I think the waterbed's from 1, isn't it? Because that's where Johnny Depp gets killed.
No, Johnny Depp gets sucked down into it, but there's a waterbed sequence where the kid gets trapped in the waterbed.
Oh, no, you're right. Because, and that's, what's
4?
the one that has, it's the one that's got the Vinnie Vincent invasion on the soundtrack. So I think that's 4. Yeah, because Dawkins on the Dream Warriors, and that's 3. Right?
It is 4, yeah.
It's 4 then. You're right. Oh my God, yeah, because they show the girl in the waterbed in the video for Love Kills.
Right, and she's topless in the American version. Here, it's not. That's not the case, because again, a little bit more conservative, but that is straight out of 4, which came out in 88. So this movie was made sometime in between 88 and 94. So my point more is less like, oh, they saw the first Nightmare on Elm Street and were like, hey, that's Freddy Krueger, let's do that. It's like, they saw all of them and didn't decide, yeah, Freddy Krueger can clearly talk, so why don't we have him talk?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, is that the monster we're not really given a lot of him. And what's weird is I feel like they kind of go a little more blatantly into his backstory than we got with Freddy in 1, certainly, where, in 1 we know that he was, a child killer and all that.
He was a kid diddler. Kid diddler.
I legit have had fans argue with me about, like, oh, he just killed them. Like, guys, I don't want to be that dark person, but I mean, if you look at true crime, people that prey on kids to kill them are doing other things. It's disgusting. It's disturbing. I don't like thinking about it either. But also, you're defending Freddy Krueger. It's kind of like people being like, well, Dracula doesn't like dudes. I'm okay with him drinking baby blood. Did you not hear that when the BBC did their version of Dracula a few years ago, and a bunch of like fanboys were complaining because Dracula's bisexual?
Oh, right.
Yeah, which still cracks. I'm like, really? Like, okay.
Why would he care? If you were immortal, you wouldn't care.
Also, you're homophobic. B, Dracula's not real, so he could literally be anything he wants.
Right.
Not a real character. It's like being like, if Freddy wants
fictional characters, they're not real.
Yeah. But I digress. Yeah, they don't really do a lot. And the design, I don't know. I've been trying to figure out if I like the design or not, because at times he looks kind of like a burn victim Chris Kattan with the mullet.
His hair. The hair is it for me. Like, that's where I'm on board, is the hair.
He's got like totally like this like mullet, like a black mullet. Other times he kind of looks like that, like a cheap version of Trickster from Brainscape.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah, totally.
Okay, see, but yeah, why isn't he talking like Freddy? And I'm not saying he has to do monologues or anything, but like, but even in 1, which when Freddy was still legit scary and not like a cartoon character, he would say little things like, "I'm your boyfriend now, Tina," and you're like, "Fuck, that's terrifying." Yeah. And this guy doesn't really like Shakaal, even though we get it really. There's a great set design of his sacrificial area where he kills children to build his powers in the black arts, and like they definitely go harder, I think, on the whole child killing thing than the Nightmare on Elm Street did. But
well, we actually see it. We see like a kid, and we see him throwing Anita's sister, like, I guess, into the
fire pit,
the well of souls. Like, I don't know, like what? It was like a giant circle tube that just goes somewhere that you can't return from.
Can we form a metal band called Tube of Souls?
Soul Tube.
Soul Tube.
We are Soul Tube, and this is our 45-minute jazz odyssey.
Oh my God. It is the second coming of Soul Tube. But the monster. Also, the characters we get, I think that's the other thing, is like with Nightmare on Elm Street, at least, especially those first few, like, say like 1 to 4, you like all the characters. You don't want these kids to get, even though, some of them are going to get it. And it's not that you don't care about our main protagonists in this film, because I think the actors, are largely likable, but everything, like the pacing is like on cocaine. It's like on pure fucking amphetamine that you can't focus enough, So it's like, do you even really know these characters, this movie? So 2 hours long, and they still feel like they're sketches. They don't feel like people to me, you know?
No, I completely agree. I mean, even Shakaal feels the same way. It's, I was sitting and watching it, and all I could think to myself was, even when Nightmare on Elm Street has a moment of levity to it, and there are some, ooh, stuff like that. I mean, that's the Johnny Depp. I mean, Johnny Depp's character is a lot of the comic relief.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there is comic relief in that movie. It's still a horror movie, and it feels like a horror movie with bits of comedy in it. This movie is tonally not a horror movie. It is a teenage slice of life rom-com adjacent with a monster. And in a lot of ways, it more or less speaks to, in my mind, and again, like, there aren't a lot of them, and it's not a genre that is very well represented. Indian horror films, it's not as big of a genre as it is in Western cinema. Like, it just, the representation is not there the way it is here. And I wonder why. I again, like, I haven't been able to suss out specifically why, but it's not as big of a genre. And I wonder if it's because, like, tonally, it's hard to land a film with musical numbers that's also a horror film, because a lot of the horror movies that are coming out now are sans a lot of the typical things you would expect from an Indian horror film or an Indian film in general. Like Tumbbad, which we talked about, Father Malone and I, several episodes back, no musical numbers at all. None. And it's like an hour and 45 minutes. Like, it's not this like expansive narrative too. It's an expansive narrative, but it's not 2.5 hours.
Right.
And like, it seems like in a lot of ways, at least best I can suss out, some of it may just be horror movies are hard to do if you're trying to transpose your own style onto them, because sometimes the restraints of horror are not willing to bend in that direction. Sometimes they just can't bend in that direction. And like, maybe Mahakaal having Shakaal do a dance and kind of do his thing, maybe that would change my tune, but even they didn't think it could work, so they didn't even try it. Maybe it would have worked, but I don't know. We don't know anything about the villain in this movie more than what they give us, and what they give us doesn't feel like enough, and what they give us about our heroes doesn't feel like enough either. It's just like the movie just kind of floats from scene to scene.
Yeah. Well, and the thing I hate, because all the points you just made are spot on, but I hate it because I think I think you could do it. But the problem is, like, to weave in musical elements in a horror film without it feeling just like somebody throwing cold water in your face. Like, you'd have to kind of just keep the tone, and you can have humor. I mean, Return of the Living Dead is a movie that's a perfect example of having, like, you could have moments that are really brutal and at times even really sad and bleak. There's the stuff that's funny is fantastic, and there's a great use of music in it too. It's not musical, but the music in it's super important. But I mean, I think you could totally. I would love to see somebody do that. And I was trying to think of, like, top of my head, of musical numbers that work in a creepy way. That's like, and it's weird, but like, there's that whole thing with the sirens and "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?"
Okay.
And that has almost like a sinister undertone, and that's really beautifully done. That's obviously not a horror movie, but I think you could do it. But like you said, it's hard, and I think it's just hard in general to do good horror. I mean, there's so many, and I'm a monster kid, but there's so many horror movies out that are just so rote, and maybe that's kind of the problem with I don't even know. It's just,
have you seen 2014 Stage Fright? The movie that has like Meatloaf and Minnie Driver in it.
I've seen a review of it. I have not actually seen it. I'm more familiar with the Michele Soavi Stage Fright, which is fucking awesome and is a masterpiece. But I've not seen the Meatloaf one.
It's interesting. It's a horror musical, and like it works more or less. Like, again, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, it's the best movie I've ever seen. But like, again, like, it in my mind shows that you can kind of get away with it. Like, again, if you buy into the premise, like, if you, the creator, are just like going for it, like, you got to just go for it. Like, and that's why I think you would agree. Like, in my mind, to go for it in this movie is to have the monster sing. To have have the monster not be part of the story. Since when in Indian cinema is the villain not given some characterization? Like, that is it. Clearly, it's surprising to you as well that the villain of this film gets no characterization. Because, like, I can think of a movie like the sequel to Entheron, or Doom 3, or Doom 2, or God, even Pathan, where it's like these villains are as well fleshed out and realized as our heroes are. And that is something that I consider to be a positive for Indian cinema, is that they take the time and go to the lengths to give you a reason to maybe even see from the villain's point of view. And in this, it's like, nah, he's just a bad guy.
Yeah. He cackles evilly. And that's it. Like, it's so lame. It's like a bad haunted house. And right down to throwing, actually, I did think it was part of it. One of the nightmares, the girl, like, skeletons are thrown on her.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why that made me laugh. It was cute.
I was thinking, comparing this, because the reason we watch this, you remember why we're watching this, right?
Well, yeah, we wanted to do a horror movie, right?
But also because in Ishq, there is a scene with, like, a horror scene with Amir Khan, remember?
Oh, it was so good. It was. Oh, see, you just lifted my spirits because you reminded me of that great scene and Amir Khan. So it's like win-win.
And Johnny Lever was in that movie. So
yeah.
that's why we're doing this. But I remember, you and I talking like, oh, Indian horror. And it's like, this is a poor example of a Indian horror movie, but that's not really the point. This is a poor example of a horror movie.
Yeah, it doesn't, it being from India is almost just more of a factoid, really, than a factor in my, right. And it's weird because it's like, I definitely think it's also, and not in a good way. I mean, it's still, India is a much more conservative country, but this is kind of the sleaziest film we've done. There's a lot of like layering, and a girl gets her ass slapped. There's literally a zoom in on poor Anita's boobs. Like, they're clothed. There's no nudity or anything.
Right.
It's not really sleazy. It's not sleazy by American standards for sure. But
is there nudity in the original Nightmare? I guess there's underwater breasts at one point, which aren't Heather Langenkamp's.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's a body double in that scene because she was like barely of legal age. So
yeah, it had been a body double. I hope. I don't know. God, it was the 80s. Who knows?
There's not any nudity in that first Nightmare. But again, like this movie. See, here's the thing that feels like the big missed opportunity. Again, that's why I mentioned when this movie came out and when this movie had to have been filmed, at least post 97. Like, they have every Nightmare on Elm Street movie to mine from.
Yeah.
Outside of New Nightmare, which again, for me, that one is as important as the first one is, but they don't have that one to draw from, but they have all the other ones. And instead of really doing a real amalgamation of the movies into something uniquely Indian, they just go, we're going to retell the first movie and throw in a couple nods to the second and third movie. Cause in the Nightmare on Elm Street gay edition, the second movie, they have this whole thing about him being possessed by Freddy, and that's what happens to Anita in this movie. Is she's possessed by Shakaal at one point,
right? Just
like Nightmare on Elm Street 2. And it's like, okay, so you've seen that movie then, so Freddy Krueger talks. So why does Shakaal not talk? It's just like, it's such a strange choice because it is a obvious intentional choice, and it doesn't feel like the right one to the point where it really detracts from my ability to enjoy the movie or even understand what Y.V. Tyagi saw in the original movie that made them think like, this is a movie I want to remake and let me do these things. It's like, man, like you really didn't even stretch. You didn't even really push yourself to do much in a lot of ways. It doesn't feel like much of anything.
No. Well, and it's like, it's also like kind of taking like obvious things and not understanding how they work, which is why a lot of like it's harder to find really great remakes in general, because a lot of times people remake a movie, they'll be like, they'll take the obvious things, but they don't even bother to study why did this work. Like with 2, that character, he had legit angst over being like, what's wrong with me? Am I killing people and I don't know it? And, you care about him. Like, you're legit worried about him and you don't want him put in a situation, when Anita gets possessed, by the time that happens, you're just like, okay, cool, whatever. I mean, even though there is like this whole thing where this bad guy that's called, I guess, the boss, who at one point, I have to make a comment on this, is wearing a blue collared shirt, like an Izod type collared shirt that's got Iron Maiden.
He's a cool guy.
But I've never legit And I mean, one of my best friends at junior high was a metalhead. Like, I love heavy metal. I'm very familiar with the culture. I have never seen a collared Iron Maiden shirt in my life.
Are you saying that we should like have some made for us, like matching?
No.
Would that hurt? Would that hurt our style?
It would just make me think of this movie.
Our style being all black all the time.
Yeah, we're more the goths. We need goth collared shirts, and we'll have Baja or Sisters of Mercy.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like Baja Men.
Who let the dogs out?
Shakaal did.
Yeah, that scamp.
Yeah,
that imp. But and that's it. And there's a whole thing where this guy he goes to a club and sees this act, but he keeps seeing Anita like miming to it. I actually think that's actually probably the better musical number because of the editing. And like, that's kind of a cool idea where it's almost like, is he hallucinating? Is she messing with him because she's possessed by Shakaal? Like, the scenes there are good, but it's like everything and I get frustrated with movies like this where there are scenes that are really cool, but everything is such a mess.
Right.
And it's not stitched together like it should be, that you just get really frustrated. Also, this guy legit doesn't understand why she doesn't like him, even he tried to rape her. Like, I mean, talk about not reading the room. Like, hey, anybody listening, if you want somebody to like you, don't assault them.
Right.
It's pretty easy. Like, don't assault anybody, really. I mean, that's terrible. Like, and just don't be an asshole. You know, don't do that.
And that for me, I think is kind of the excuse me. That for me is kind of the big issue with this movie is I didn't find any of the characters likable. I didn't find them easy to get invested in and or quote root for against Shakaal. They seem to be kind of just as surprised and confused as we are. I mean, in the original movie, it seems like the parents know more than they're letting on and that they're doing their best to protect their kids, but not really. They think they do what they're doing what they think is right? Mm-hmm. There's none of that here. It's just like this guy keeps killing us and we don't know why. And then by the end of it, it's like, well,
by the way,
yeah, like Shakaal killed your sister and killed a bunch of kids. But like, how does Shakaal die? How did Shakaal become Shakaal? Like, that's not an answer that is given in the movie. And it's not one that's needed to be given, but it's a part of the framework of the original movie as to why he's doing what he's doing. It's never made clear. He's just doing it because whatever. But like that, I guess, but that's not particularly interesting. Like, even in the original movie, it's not particularly interesting. Like, it's just those kids happened to go to that school and this guy happened to be there. There's nothing interesting about it. And that's kind of what makes it work. But then again, like, what really makes it work is that the parents are so kind of still invested in like, well, we don't want to even know what is going on. And we're hiding and we have the glove and the hat in the furnace. Like, all of that is part and parcel to the original story because that's how you find out how Freddy Krueger has it in for them. There's none of that here. There's not even a character's motivation as to why our villain is doing what he's doing to the heroes of the piece.
Well, and also, like, the parents aren't nuanced characters here. Because, like, in the original, like, you like both of Nancy's parents. Like, her mom, you know, seems like a good person and she seems kind of haunted. And you understand why, like, especially once you find out more of the details. But It's a good performance. And, of course, her father's John... pardon my French, even though I cuss all the time. John motherfucking Saxon, because he is the man.
Right.
He is like my American American. I almost blushed saying John Saxon. I love him. But Nancy's dad is not like her dad's a good dad. Like, he's skeptical and he's a cop and he's a man, but he also just, you know, he's not coming from a bad place. Like, he cares, but he's clueless, but he's not an asshole. Anita's dad in this movie is just straight up dick. Her dad is not a good person. Like, if ACAB exists in India, it's probably because of people like her dad.
Right.
Her dad, and he doesn't redeem because, like, you find out, oh, her sister died. And it's like, boy, okay, you can see that kind of fucking, obviously that would fuck anybody up. Your kid died and a violent, of course, we don't know at that point how she died, but just losing your child. I mean, that's heavy. That's very heavy. But her dad is so wooden and it's just like, like that is his whole level. The entire movie is like that noise, that tension.
Right.
There's no humanity to him. And it's not even funny. I think that's the problem. If this movie was just so over the top bad, then it would be entertaining. But it sits in an uncomfortable middle because, you know, and I think that that hurts it too, because you can't even really watch it for, you know, like camp purposes, I guess, if you're going to watch a movie for that reason.
Well, and you know, if we have 1-to-1 characters in the movie, the Johnny Lever character is a addition to the mix that is not in the original series.
That's
right?
Yeah.
And
We don't
he's like trying the hardest, I feel like, of anyone, but that's also because he's seemingly given the most to do. It's almost like he's the main character of the movie.
Well, and he plays 3 different roles.
Right.
Like,
Great.
yeah. And it's bizarre. Some of that stuff is so bizarre, but he does put an effort, and he, at least early on, after a while, that character kind of wears its welcome.
After like the first or second scene.
Yeah, but initially it's like, oh, this guy, you know. But and that's the other thing too, is like by the time you get to the later section, there's been another scene where 2 girls almost get raped in public. Johnny Lever's character actually saves them while dressed as a character made famous by Amitabh.
Yep.
Like, never, movie filmmakers don't ever mention even an actor that would make your movie better. Don't mention that, because Amitabh could have lifted some of this shit.
Right.
And on top of that, I'm sure the movie that they're alluding to is got to be a lot better. It's got to be.
Well, it has Amitabh in it.
Exactly. And
I do wonder, like, if this movie had gone the route of casting a well-known actor as the villain, if that would have been, oh, well, now we need to characterize the villain, and now he needs to be important. But it was like, well, we didn't cast anyone of note as Shakaal, so there you go. Like, he's just gonna be the villain then. And you mentioned the design of the character. His design, I think, is fine, but it is egregious that it is just the exact same glove painted gold. That is the one part of this movie that I do have a hard time forgiving it for, because you've done effectively nothing creative with that glove. And it is so iconic on its own. Like, you can't help but just be like, that's the glove from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is like, even if the actor isn't that well known, I mean, Robert Englund wasn't a huge star.
No.
When he was cast, he was like kind of a supporting character actor at best. I mean, he'd done some notable roles. He was in The Last Deal, and he had Toby Hooper's Eaten Alive, which is amazing.
That was in V as well.
He was in V. Yeah. I mean, so he was a working actor, but he definitely wasn't a household name. But the thing is, England, being the great character actor he is one of those guys that can bring a presence and a kind of demented charisma. Like, he's not charismatic as Freddy in a sexy way, obviously, but he's charismatic in a way that, you know, you could feel. And that's what makes Freddy kind of so scary too. It's like anybody could be some goon that's like, you know, I'm going to haunt your dreams.
Right.
Biatch. I don't say biatch, but, you know, but England, there's something about England that is very magnetic. And that's kind of what makes it even scarier, is because you feel that pull with the repulsion. And that's like that's a sweet spot with any kind of truly great villain or monster, is that uneasy mix, like a quicksand kind of thing. And we don't get that at all. And it sucks because, like, some of the atmosphere, like, there were some talented people that worked on lighting and set design, and some of the camera work's really good. Like, there was some effort made, but the rest of the movie doesn't match up with it. So, you know, it's just kind of like a flat effect. Right.
Well, and looking into Mahabir Bular's career, still acting today, mostly known, I think, in India for being a supporting actor, supporting character and things. So again, like you just said, I mean, it's not like the actor that they cast couldn't have given it more. I just don't think there was more to give it. I don't know. I think they were focusing on the wrong things from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah. So Chris, with this film, I don't know if you did this, but I kind of was thinking if you and I were involved in the creative process and be like, okay, let's do this. First of all, and they give us hints with this, but they don't really get into it, because they constantly refer to him as an evil spirit. And at one point, the mother, who that actress, by the way, is only 5 years older than the actress playing Anita. I kept being like, her mom looks amazing for her age. And it's
right.
Yeah, because she's 5 years older than her. But they meet a guru or a master that gives her an amulet that doesn't come into play at all for the rest of the movie.
Go figure.
Yeah. But what if and that'd be another way to kind of divide it a little better, more from a Craven film, is lean into mythology. Make it like an ancient demon kind of thing. Like kind of make it, lean into that aspect of it. Make the musical numbers make at least one of them a little scary, a little spooky. Keep that tonal. The whole subplot with Rapey McRaperton, cut that shit out. This movie's too long as it is. It didn't add anything to it. And you're not invested enough in anything to care when he finally does get killed. Like either,
and in a pretty lackluster way. I feel like. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, it's not. I spit on your grave. Okay.
Well, when I was watching it, I was like, well, here's the Johnny Depp scene. I mean, it's like that's where you're like, he's on the bed. Here we go. They subvert your expectations a little bit because all of a sudden it's the bed scene from a different movie, a different nightmare, where it ends up being, the waterbed and trapped in the waterbed. But like the thing, like it almost feels like it was because of it was a technological limitation, because that fucking room from Nightmare is not something anybody should be doing again. If you watch the Never Sleep Again documentary, it sounds like that was a nightmare when they did that blood effect, to the point where like the room tilted and shit was getting electrocuted and stuff. Like nobody should be recreating that. It's an amazing effect still to this day. Like it is an impressive effect in an impressive movie. But like if we judge this movie as a horror movie, it doesn't even have very interesting kills. Not that it needs it, but it doesn't even, like you said, do anything with the fact that it's an Indian horror movie, because it totally should have been, this is, the god of revenge or whatever, like something to that effect. A movie like Tumbbad does it, where it's like it's a monster, but we're leaning on the folklore and the religion and the culture of India to inform what it is, which makes it, like you said, uniquely Indian. And this doesn't even feel Indian. That's the thing. Like it's an Indian remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street, but it just feels like a bad remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street. Like Indian cinema with or without like the case, like it doesn't change anything.
Yeah. This is a film, and obviously, you're doing this podcast, and we've talked about several films together. You and I are obviously not the kind of people that are like going to whine about a film being long. Like if the movie's good, bring it. We're down. But this one definitely, I think, was the one that we've talked about that I really felt the length on. It just was too long. It was way, way too long because it wasn't that good. I mean, because some of the other films, we've discussed some films that were a little long. It could have been trimmed, but it wasn't a deal breaker. With this one, it's like, oh my God, there's like B and C and D plots. Cut that shit out. Like just cut it out, lean it up, and give us a scary musical number. You can do that. There's tons of music that's legit atmospheric and scary out there. I know there's not a lot of precedents for scary musicals. Though you mentioning stage fright made me think of Slumber Party Massacre 2, which does have a great musical number. I love it with it's like a rockabilly number though. It's so much fun. But
I'm trying to think of like horror musicals. There's like, Rocky Horror, but not really. I mean, it has horror elements. Sweeney Todd. As presented by Johnny Depp and Tim Burton. Not like the stage plays kind of.
The stage plays a lot more like believe it or not, darker.
Yeah, it's like also very kind of like tongue in cheek too.
Yeah.
And like, it's more kind of like biting satire and less like Johnny Depp crooning as best he can or believes he.
Right. Well, and you don't have the pastiche of like the Tim Burton pastiche kind of thing going, which is
already horror adjacent.
Yeah. Well, at this point, and I hate this because I love Tim Burton. This is an aside. I loved Tim Burton as a teenager, and I still love like Beetlejuice is forever my jam. But but after a while, it's like, okay, I know what merch is going to be a hot topic.
Right.
Like, you can see it. But yeah, no, that's a really good question. There aren't a ton, because Rocky Horror is kind of an intentional sort of camp homage to horror and science fiction and B movies. As I kind of would Repo the Genetic Opera count?
Yeah, but Father Malone is rolling his eyes somewhere.
I wasn't a fan of it either, but
I get it.
But I mean, we're not talking about the ones we personally love. We're talking about just in general.
What about Phantom of the Paradise?
Yeah, that's so funny. I love that movie with the fire of 1,000 suns.
Likewise.
And I never even think of it as horror because I just think of it as Phantom of the Paradise.
Right. Well, but it is. It's like 100%.
It's inspired by Phantom of the Opera, which is 100% horror. So Phantom of the Opera might be the the gold standard because I can't think of a horror musical that, at least in my opinion, I think is better. I mean, you can't beat that soundtrack. Like,
no. I mean, they do a Psycho. They do a Psycho, like a little Psycho homage in the movie. Like, it knows what it is. Like,
I love Beef. Oh,
it's great.
Now I'm just gonna want to go watch. We should have watched Phantom of Paradise instead of Mahakaal.
Right?
Oh goodness! But
it's a better musical.
It's a better musical. I mean, shit. Even Repo, just a genetic opera, which I don't like. At least it's short.
Right. Oh yeah. And Paul Sorvino really knows how to sing. Yeah. Paul Sorvino singing in that movie is
it like, woof. Have you seen Tommy? Like Ken Russell's Tommy?
No.
Oh, you need to see it because I love Tommy, but Nicholson sings in it. And I'm going to ask you which one you thought was the worst singer, Jack Nicholson or Paul Sorvino?
I would submit for your approval a third.
Ooh.
Submit for your approval.
Yes.
Pierce Brosnan and Mamma Mia.
Oh, well, okay. That's a horror movie in a different way.
Right. Where are those happy days? Like, oh, God. Stop it, Pierce.
Oh,
Pierce, no.
What did Abba do to you, Pierce Brosnan?
Show us on this doll where it touched your weenus, Pierce.
He said weenus.
Pierce Brosnan's weenus.
But it's too bad. But you do make me want to explore. Like, I almost feel like it's a challenge now. I feel like we need to find a horror movie that's from India that's really good that has a musical number.
Right.
It's gotta exist, right?
I mean,
that's good.
It has to. I mean, again, it's just, I guess the question is, and this is the thing that kind of we're walking around here ultimately, is how much of it can be a horror movie, right? Because like it could have horror elements like Ishq did. Ishq had a horror scene. Doesn't make it a horror movie, right?
Right.
This movie's a horror movie because there are reoccurring horror scenes. But like, again, like it's a horror movie, but this movie's barely a horror movie. Like it barely works as a horror movie. It works better as like a slice of life teen drama.
Yeah, we're using the word teen very loosely.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point when Anita, and it's not this actress's fault. The actress is fine, but she has a nightmare. She's crying for her parents. And there was one point where I totally expected her dad to be like, Anita, you're 30.
You're an adult now.
Get out.
I mean, did Heather Langenkamp and Johnny Depp look like adults in Nightmare? Yeah, they did.
But she was a teenager.
Right.
She legit was like 17, 18.
Right. But like Johnny Depp looked like, I guess, I don't know. Again, like
he didn't look 30.
No, but he also didn't look like a teenager the way she did. Right. And
no.
I mean, Heather Langenkamp has very soft features. So
yeah. And she's so good. Like but that's the thing is Nancy, this is oh my God, you just made me realize this might have been the ultimate. Well, yeah, deal breaker is like with Nancy in the original, you get a protagonist that you not only care about, but she's intelligent. She is a fighter. She is savvy.
She's
like
the best fucking scream queen of them all.
She's a badass. You love her. And
who's better? Like, who's better than Nancy? I like, who?
I mean, she
takes it to him in the first movie. She doesn't wait. Like, she almost saves Johnny Depp in that movie.
Yeah. I mean, she's only like her and probably like Sigourney Weaver in like Aliens. Like, those two are like the badass mamma jammas.
But I still go for Heather Langenkamp because that's, like, even if Alien is a horror movie, Nightmare on Elm Street is still pure horror, not sci-fi horror.
Well, yeah, they're both great though.
Right. It's like picking vanilla and chocolate ice cream. Like, you're not going to be disappointed either way.
Exactly. No, and Heather Langenkamp, it's such a great performance because you totally buy her being that resourceful. Like, she helps you make you feel that character. Anita is basically, and I hate this because that actress, like, I would have loved to seen her take that, be given the opportunity to be like, you know what? Fight him. He has ruined your life. He's killing your friends. Like, he's possessing your body at one point, which is rapey. I mean, what's more rape than somebody invading you without your permission? That's rape. And her fight back, and instead it has to be the men doing it. I mean, literally, when they have the big confrontation at the end, her mother tries to run out at one point without, like, your baby girl's like, well, what is going on? And it's like asshole dad and her boyfriend. And again, I can't stress enough. We're not blaming any of the actors. It's the writing and direction. They save it. it's just bullshit. It's bullshit. It would be like if Johnny Depp's ghost saved the day in Nightmare and not Heather Langenkamp. It's utter nonsense.
Well, and to your point, I mean, Archana Puran Singh is given a raw deal here. Like, she's not a remotely relatable protagonist. Like, there's nothing about her that's like memorable. Even again, Heather Langenkamp, there's a reason she comes back in 2 other movies, including the one that ends up being, for me, the Nightmare movie. And she's part of the trilogy of movies, 1, 3, and New Nightmare, that I personally consider headcanon, because that's a complete story told in 3 movies. The original, the sequel, and then this is what was actually happening. Here it is in the real world. Like, that, awesome. Like, but that's a testament to Heather Langenkamp, like, and her performance and her ability to be charming and charismatic and also, like you said, believable. And it just shocks me that, like you said, our hero in this has no agency of her own.
No. And that's the thing, too, is that you and I have seen and talked about Indian movies that have strong female characters and strong female protagonists. I mean, including Dangal, which is literally based on a true story, you know? Like, so it's not like, you know, it's a culture thing. Like, you can have a strong female in there, and it's just they choose not to do it. And her dad isn't really... I didn't care for her dad, and it was weird. That whole confrontation was weird because literally the boyfriend really is the only one trying to save her properly.
Right.
And like, you kind of think the parents, and it's almost like they're just like, maybe we'll start fresh after this one gets sacrificed.
Right.
I mean, it's terrible.
I wish this movie didn't feel like such a novelty, like such kind of like, it almost feels like the movie itself is an afterthought and they just wanted to get butts in the seats because it's a retelling of a story that is a Western story. But like, guys, just watch the original. Like, don't even watch this. Cause like, again, like, this is beyond diminishing returns, but they don't do enough to even warrant this existing in a lot of ways. The original Nightmare on Elm Street is a classic for a reason. And it will always be. It has stood the test of time. And it will stand the test of time. No matter how many times they remake it, no matter how many sequels they make, it's still the best out of all of them. Even if my favorite is New Nightmare, the original is solid front to back. There's nothing wrong with that movie. As far as I'm concerned, it's almost a perfect...
It's a masterpiece.
Right.
It's a masterpiece.
Just thinking about the blood scene alone, like, that is just like, like everything about it, right?
Yeah. I mean, even after watching this, and you and I both, like you mentioned, we love the series. And even after seeing Freddy become kind of like, like this weird anti-hero. And I mean, there was like Freddy Krueger dolls and like games. Yeah. Like,
I love Freddy though, but like, it's weird to root for.
I do too. It's super weird, but you can still, even with knowing all that, you can still go back and rewatch the first one and it still has that effect. Like, it's such a great horror movie. And
it's scary. The first movie is scary.
It's legit scary. And I mean, honestly, I mean, that whole tongue coming out of the phone thing, that fucked with me as a kid. I saw that movie at way too young of an age. But I was so afraid anytime I answered the phone, like, Freddy was going to try and French me and be like, I'm your boyfriend now, Heather.
I'm your boyfriend now, Heather.
The fucking tongue flicking out of the end of the phone.
Oh my God. I would prefer if it was Stone.
I'm your boyfriend now, Heather. In the background, you hear the glass break.
I wouldn't want to date Stone Cold either, but I just wanted to hear you say that, and it was every bit as good as I knew.
Right. I know when to ask is less important than to just say, wouldn't it be funny if?
I know.
I like it though. I mean, hey, you throw the ball in the air and I may take a swing at it. Who knows? We'll see.
I never said I was subtle.
I appreciate it.
Subtle.
I appreciate that you're just like, I would prefer if it were this. It's like, all right, let's do it.
Hey, Chris, let me posit the situation for you. Yeah. It's too bad, but I hope somebody listens to this. And I think any country, Indian, fabulous. If you're American, cool. Wherever you can be from Denmark, make a horror movie that's a musical that's creepy. I want to see this shit. I want to see, because even my beloved Phantom, our beloved Phantom of the Paradise.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I wouldn't say it's scary or creepy. It is a horror musical. You're 100% right.
Paul Williams is creepy in it.
Oh, but yeah,
I'm with
on,
nine
it's fun.
Michelle flashlight and the I mean, yeah, I get it. Like, oh well,
Oh,
but he is a interesting looking fella. Let's put it that way.
Oh, but you know what? Beef. Can we all just swear over Garrett Graham? He's so dreamy, and oh my god, and may reportedly have what the vernacular. I don't know if this is proper vernacular. Have a hog
leg, chimp arm.
There's a Brian De Palma movie where you see it all. I'm packing.
I wonder what would have been this movie's outcome if the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff had been handled in a more, not respectful, but interesting way and less a one-for-one way. I wonder what that movie would look, and I wonder if that movie would have been better than this, because again, there are other Indian remakes of things. There's an Indian version of Forrest Gump that doesn't just do the Forrest Gump story. It takes it and does something with it, as Heather shudders and shakes and no. George C. Scott hardcore over here.
Turn it off.
Turn it off.
That's kind of how it was when you showed me the trailer for that. I was like, I totally acted like I saw it like a family member in a porno. I was like, oh.
Yeah. But again, like, it's not like a remake of an American film by an Indian filmmaker is something that hasn't happened. But this does verge on blatant, and this does verge on too close. Like, what's the point of remaking this movie 1-to-1? Just go watch the original.
Yeah. Well, and the same thing is they do add a lot of new stuff, but none of it is to a greater good kind of thing.
Right.
You know, I mean, other than seeing more Johnny Lever, who's, I mean, even though his character gets old fast, like he's right. I do enjoy seeing him.
He's got a great Jerry curl.
He's got an amazing Jerry curl, and he's a good dancer. That motherfucker can outdance me. Right. I can't dance that good.
He loves to dance, apparently.
If I tried doing some of those like little knee moves he did, I would be on the floor crying because I have hurt myself.
I think he's the best part of this entire movie.
Agreed. 100% agree. Him and the lighting. The
lighting was interesting to look at. I'm not sure it was eminently successful all the time.
It was very Italian lighting. It's very like giallo, like color, like blue gels, red gels, like
they love the blue gels on his face, on Shakaal's face.
I love the use of color in horror. I think that trend, especially when she gets to the 90s and the aughts, and even somewhat today now, so many horror movies just look so washed out. And I'm like, man, come on, guys. Like, you got a palette.
They love their realistic, folksy look. All right.
Well, I think I can say folk spun.
Folksy. This is shiplap.
I feel like we could make a horror movie about call it whittle. It's about a guy that whittles, you know, like the little sticks is whittling, and he kills rogue teenagers with his whittling.
I think it would be called Whitland.
And oh my god, no, this movie's gonna rock. I just hit me. We have him played by Stephen McCatty or Lance Henriksen.
Okay.
Ugh. Let's do Lance. And he plays the musical Saw over the dead bodies of his victims. That'd be so creepy. Have you never heard like a musical Saw?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
and then we hear like there's this beautiful lonely lady. We call her the Lady of the Swamps, and she sings like all of these death ballads, and she's got a pet crow. This shit is top.
I'm more interested in this.
No, I just came up out the top of my head a better movie than Mahakaal. You're welcome.
Just fantasy booked it better.
And if anybody writes this movie, we will sue you because we have this shit timestamped.
Unlike the creators of Nightmare on Elm Street, we will sue you.
We will go full Harlan Ellison on your asses. Okay.
It's time to get litigious, baby.
Woo! Oh, that's a catchphrase.
Yeah.
We're gonna look at Disney and say, "Hold our beer, mouse."
Yeah. Squeak, squeak, motherfucker.
Oh my god, this is why I love Chris. Like, Chris is the best. No other host is gonna come up with squeak, squeak, motherfucker.
Hey, that's what the mouse wants. The mouse wants attention. Time to give it some.
Oh.
Here's your piece of cheese.
Oh my god, I am living for all of this. Yes.
Cheese through.
I just love saying, you want action, we'll give it.
Yeah, you want it.
That's even better than my previous favorite phrase. You got beef, so let's eat.
You got beef, let's heat up the grill and cook.
Your voice sounds so much more threatening than mine. I feel like I still sound like a hostess. Like,
hi, I'm Heather, and would you like some Southwest egg rolls with that?
yeah. Oh, I highly recommend the Chipotle Ranch to go with it.
Oh, it's actually pronounced Chipotle. Chipotle aioli. That's the other one. Aioli. It's aioli, and it's pronounced Chipotle. Chipotle aioli. Chipotle aioli. What are you, Screep? What did you call me?
Yeah, everybody gets in a fist fight.
Get over here, you Chipotle aioli. I only eat Southwestern egg rolls at TGI Fridays.
You know the Texas rattlesnake's been thrown out of at least a few Applebee's and Chili's, okay?
Yeah, he has. I mean, when I didn't cook my Southwest egg roll all the way through, it's a little cold in the center. Like, all right, Jesus. Give me more Chipotle aioli.
Yeah. Sir, you just did a stutter on our manager. We're going to have to ask you to leave.
Guy's shaking in the back like The Rock. Jeez, he's selling it. He's really selling it.
Where's my goddamn mozzarella sticks?
Those mozzarella sticks don't have no cheese pull. Get out of here. It's like, Jesus, Stone Cold, what is your problem? Sir, this is a TGI Fridays, not a WWF ring.
The cheese
The cheese. Stone Cold talking about the cheese pull would be... I mean, again, that's why I stopped listening to his podcast, because it was like, went to Trader Joe's to get some orange cranberry relish, and they didn't have any. Oh, hell, yeah. It's like, oh, okay. You were cool at one point.
Wow. Yeah, that's sort of like being like, I went to Starbucks and the espresso machine was broken. Nobody cares.
I need to drink normal coffee. Like, welcome to real life.
How does it sound like the whiniest white man on the planet?
Yeah.
Complain about Trader Joe's.
Right. And their parking lot. All these people driving Priuses taking up the pig space. It's like, okay. Calm down.
Oh my God. He's all bitching because they're out of truffle oil.
Yeah.
Where's my truff?
I can't make my risotto for Deborah.
Deborah.
This was more entertaining than the movie. Talking about this movie was more entertaining than this movie.
Honestly, we should release this episode on Blu-ray and sell it. Because it'll be a better use of your money.
It's an alternative to Mahakaal. And to your point, though, that I think for me is the biggest shame in this entire issue with this movie is there may not be another movie that is a Indian cinema version of A Nightmare on Elm Street ever to come out. And the fact that it's this is the biggest kind of disappointment, because I would love to see a director who's actually motivated do something interesting with the source material. But the likelihood that happens is rather low, because this would have been the time for it to happen when that movie came out and when it was more part of the pop culture discussion than the movie is now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, and it wouldn't be the first time. Think about how many different versions of, say, like Dracula, speaking of horror characters, that we've seen in different countries too. I mean, like Japan, you had Lake of Dracula. Jess Franco made El Conde Dracula, which was, you have so many. I mean, actually, there was a Turkish version called Dracula Istanbul, which I think might be lost, but I hope not. So that, and that's the thing, is every version of Dracula, by and large, is a little different, even though it has like, source material that's literally a book in a lot of cases, or play. Each one's different, and especially when you go region to region, and it's like that's what makes it interesting, kind of to view different versions of Dracula, because each one's something a little different. Like, otherwise, what's the point of remaking anything? I mean, that's why people are so cynical about things being remade now, is because we've seen a lot of people remake classic films that aren't good. Like, not the classic films, but the remakes themselves. And they're a great remake.
Right.
It's not because the remakes, it's because they're lazy.
I think, though, and I'll mention it here because I've mentioned it on other shows that I've been on where we talk about movies that are remade. Why are we remaking movies that are good anyway? Why are we going and remaking movies that are like okay to middle of the road and really elevating them or doing something different with them or something? Like, why are we just going, Nightmare on Elm Street, going to remake it? Rooney Mara, she's in. All right. Connie Nielsen, she's in. All right. Jackie Earl Haley, we're going to waste his time. Like that's what that felt like. And that felt like a waste of my time, because even in that movie, they had an opportunity to do something interesting where it's like, they had a moment where they were like, it could have been that Freddy Krueger was actually innocent the whole time, and he was killed by these parents who were convinced he was a child molester and a murderer. And the movie has this opportunity where it's like they're going to pull the sheet back and there's either a tunnel to the secret sexual assault dungeon or not. And it's like, if that movie had pulled it back and there had been nothing, I think everybody would have been like, wow, they've done something drastically different. And now it kind of gives the story a different spin to it. Instead, it's literally, nope, he was a bad guy. And yet he did, I guess, with the movie's strange logic, deserve to have vigilante justice metered out against him. But why stop just remaking it? Like one for one. Like the movie still exists. Jesus Christ. Like,
well, and actually it's funny you say that because there's a point in Mahakaal where the dad's discovered having the glove. And for a brief second, I thought maybe this movie's going to surprise me. They're going to have this whole twist where you find out the dad is the killer.
Oh, okay.
But then that didn't happen. So so I see. And I mean, honestly, I think most remakes are not necessary unless, I think the exceptions, if the source material could use some improving, it's kind of like, I've always used this example, like Willard, like the Crispin Glover remake's really good. And I mean, the original one, Bruce Davidson's fucking awesome. Like he's a great actor. Is it like a movie classic? No. I mean, so it's okay. Or if it's based on something, because you can interpret a book or a play in so many different ways. Right. But otherwise, why don't you, or maybe just make stuff that's inspired? Like, it's so lazy to me at this point of like, why don't we do this? Oh, cool. Another fucking Friday the 13th movie. Do we need that? No. Part of the reason why the slasher genre was so kind of like fascinating in the 80s, because people were inspired by the success of movies like Nightmare and like Friday the 13th, but you're getting people that, okay, we've got to make a slasher film that would be like, ooh, let's do our own thing with it. I mean, not every movie obviously did that. But the ones that people remember and talk about, like say Sleepaway Camp, that's a classic. That's a movie that did its own thing 100% with it. Even something like Graduate. Yeah, The Burning, Graduate Day. Like there's, that's what you should do. Don't stop the remake shit. Be inspired. Use that inspiration to do something new that's your own in general, like it's otherwise it just ends up being like karaoke after a while.
Right. I totally agree. Like Weird Al is not making music that you or I could make, because I think he's genuinely a talented human being, and parody is
absolutely.
Parody is impossible to do unless that's exactly what you are able to do, and that's your thing. And there are plenty of directors and filmmakers and artists of all kinds that do parody work better than anyone else can, because it's so hard. I don't know why remakes aren't viewed the same way, as like it's damn near impossible to do this right.
Yeah. I mean, and it can be done, but again, you can't just half-ass it. You really gotta, I mean, like Cronenberg's The Fly is an example of a great remake, but it's David Cronenberg,
right.
Like and he did his own thing. That's 100% his movie.
Right.
That's what you have to do if you're going to do that shit. But otherwise, just make something inspired. Like, I mean, how many cool, like weird atomic fear monster movies did we get in the 50s? We got a lot. And some of them are better than others, but they're all inspired. That's how we got Godzilla. And Godzilla inspired all of these great kaiju movies from Japan. And some are better than others, but think of like the whole world that created, like that inspiration. That's how we got Mothra and, Gamera, which Gamera's very hit or miss, but he's a flying turtle and he's adorable. Okay.
I know which one is your favorite. Oh, King Caesar?
Mothra's my patron saint.
Oh, I thought King Caesar was with those ears.
Oh, he's so cute. I do love him.
He's a giant dog that Godzilla fights.
He's like a dog lion, and I love him.
I think ultimately when you have horror or genre films that can be, transposed elsewhere, I think, it's best to maybe not do the easy thing and do the hard thing, because ultimately the things that are worth doing aren't easy. To just rip off Nightmare on Elm Street yields results like this, where people are like, oh, this is a ripoff. Like, it wouldn't be a ripoff if they had tried.
Yeah, just try. And honestly, when you're dealing with the supernatural, especially, the whole world is your oyster as a creator, because you can literally write your own rules and logic, because you're dealing with a fantasy realm.
Right.
Like, so there's really no excuse. Like, have fun with it. Let your mind run wild. Like, it's, and that's the beauty. It's like if people try to apply logic, which some people do. I mean, we've all heard, I think I've probably talked about on the Culture Cast, sure, at some point, or at least ran it to you personally about like having, I think this has died down now, but when we were dealing with that zombie saturation, I legit people be like, well, zombies can't, that sucks because zombies couldn't run fast and blah blah. And it's like, they're not fucking real. How's that?
Yeah,
they're not. So you have country too. Like vampires look a lot different in Japan as a myth than they do in Malaysia. Right. Or Italy or ancient Greece, same with lycanthropes, same with ghosts, Yeah, and that's the thing. We have like centuries of folklore in every country that you can play and source from too. I mean, there's so much you can do. There's no excuse for laziness. Even if the film isn't good, if you fucking put in the effort, you have our respect.
Right.
Like I'm never gonna fully shit on something if I can tell somebody tried. I'll be honest. I'll still be like, well, some of this didn't work the best, but at the end of the day, I'm be like, but you know what? Good on you. Respect. Most people, I can sit in the chair and bitch. Somebody went out there and made a movie and they did it. Good for them. That's awesome. And
I actually obviously similar feelings. Like as far as I'm concerned, I can tell just like you can when someone's trying versus just like, here's Nightmare on Elm Street, but with Indian actors. It's like, yep, it sure is. And maybe if they had just remade Nightmare on Elm Street 1 for 1 and it had been an hour and a half and it had been this, maybe I would have liked it. Maybe that would have been enough, but I don't think it would have been. I think that this movie is an interesting artifact of a time gone past when these kinds of things could happen. But I just don't think it's a thing that would happen now. No. I don't think there's a need for it. Like I've seen Tumbbad. That movie's amazing. And that's an Indian horror movie that is scarier than most Western horror movies being made. And it has nothing to do with any Western anything. And it's like, that is refreshing for me as a viewer because I don't necessarily want to see an American movie being remade in India and we're calling that good. Like, because it's not good. It's not enough.
No. Well, and it's an insult to like, Indian culture and talent. Because the Indian film industry, obviously, I mean, you have a whole podcast about it. Like, you wouldn't be doing a podcast about an industry that was shoddy.
That was just making movies like this time. Yeah,
but also, like, I mean, who has time for colonial attitudes where it's like, well, it's got to be the best, it's got to be American. Fuck that. If I'm watching a foreign movie, I want to see a foreign movie. It's like, if I go to Italy, I don't want to go to a McDonald's, If I go to...
Other than for the novelty of it.
Well, they do have different items in foreign McDonald's.
Right, but that's more what. But
it's a novelty. No,
right. That's what I'm equating the movie to in a lot of ways. It's like it's just a novelty. It could have been more than a novelty, and all of it's all it ends up being is like, oh, if you watch this, you'll notice things that you noticed from Nightmare on Elm Street that will seem familiar, but they don't give you anything else, and so it ultimately just feels like this weird novelty act where it's like, yeah, you're doing the Nightmare thing with Indian actors. Okay,
yeah,
it's not enough.
Yeah, no. So maybe somebody, I'm hoping this will be the year that we see an Indian horror film musical with Amir Khan. I could dream. Okay.
I mean, dreams of Amir Khan running through my head.
They're sweet. They're so sweet.
Thugs of Hindustan, Amir Khan.
Oh my God. He would be such a cute vampire. Like, imagine him with a little face.
The dandy daddy.
Oh God, don't call him the dandy.
Daddy dandy.
Oh, it's so such a big... Oh,
so no, go for it.
Oh no, I'll tell you after the show. It's a sidetrack.
So Heather, final thoughts on Mahakaal?
When it comes to remakes, you can definitely do a lot better. When it comes to ripoffs, you can do a lot better. When it comes to Indian cinema, you can do a hell of a lot better. There are good facets about it, as we've talked about, but it's just it doesn't flat out suck as a whole. I mean, I was able to finish it, but it's disappointing. So I don't know. It's a little bit of a loss, but that's the journey of film watching. You win some, you lose some.
I'm with you. I had been wanting to watch this movie for a couple years now, and like I said at the top here, I mean, this is a movie that I had been keeping my eye out for a English dubbed version for as long as I have been doing this podcast, so a while now. And I'm glad I've seen it. it is a disappointment. And in a lot of ways, it's a lot more disappointing than I thought it was going to. But like you said, I mean, it's like anything else. I could watch a Western movie and just be just as disappointed or more so. It's not like I'm more disappointed here because I love Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, I'm just disappointed just the way you are. It's just is what it is ultimately. Like, it is nothing more than the original. And that is a lot of the problem with this movie. Is like the original's so good. Don't make a movie that's a remake of a movie that is a classic. There's nothing else that is needing to be said about that movie that the movie doesn't say on its own. And ultimately, this movie doesn't do enough to justify its own existence. And that's a shame because, like you said, I mean, most of the people involved in this movie wanted to make a good film, wanted to make a movie that people were interested in seeing and excited to watch. And it's not even okay. It's not even very good, frankly. And that's a shame. It is a shame. I wish it had been fun. At least if it had been fun, we could have been like, well, it was fun, but it's not even fun. It's just long in the tooth. That's the shame. It's just meh. Like, it's bad, but it's more meh than anything else. Like,
yeah. The one good thing is it'll remind you how amazing the original Nightmare on Elm Street is, and you could go watch that. It's readily available. It's a classic. Or Hack-O-Lantern. If you want something campy and it's got high pike, and there's a musical number in it. I just remember there's a heavy metal like music video in the middle of it, and there's like butt pentagrams. I mean, it's got everything. Except Amir Khan.
Yeah, right. Does it have Amir Khan? So until the next time we talk Indian cinema and possibly even an Amir Khan film, where can people find you on the internet, Heather?
Well, of course, you can find me at my website, mondoheather.com. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram under @mondoheather and have a Patreon. So you can join me there I know this is going to shock you guys, @mondoheather.
And as for me, you can find me at weirdingwaymedia.com along with all the other shows that I'm both a part of or the network is proud to offer, like Noise Junkies, which is a podcast that you host with Father Malone and HP.
Hell yes, come join us. Get your fix of Sonic talk and goodies. And we're actually going to be recording a new episode on Valentine's Day. So keep your ears peeled, and we promise it'll be better than Mahakaal.
That's not hard.
Exactly.
As for this show, BollywoodCinemaClub.com is where you can find the show, but rate, and review the show on iTunes because, I mean, that's where you're probably getting it, and that's where most people are going to be finding it. So that's where you should go to help us out if you don't want to help us out monetarily by going to where Heather's Patreon is or to the Patreon for the Culture Cast, which is, more or less, again, part and parcel with this in a lot of ways. So Heather, thank you so much for joining me as always. I wish the movie had been better, but, like you said, such is the life of a movie watcher.
We all go with it, and that's okay. It's about not the destination, but the journey.
Leave it at that.